You've been using the same shampoo for months, maybe years, trusting it to keep your hair healthy and strong. But what if I told you that bottle sitting in your shower right now could be the exact reason you're losing more hair than ever before? I know it sounds shocking, but thousands of women are making this mistake every single day without even realizing it. The worst part, the solution has been hiding in plain sight, and the beauty industry doesn't want you to know about it. Today, I'm going to reveal the 4 shampoos that are quietly destroying your hair and the 5 game-changing alternatives that can actually help stop hair loss in its tracks. But here's the thing, the most powerful solution comes at the very end, and trust me, you don't want to miss it. Before we dive in, do me a quick favor, hit that like button, drop a comment telling me your age so we can build an amazing community together. And let's get started. Let's talk about something that's probably happening in your bathroom right now without you even knowing it. Your shampoo, the very product you trust to clean and protect your hair, might actually be working against you. I've spent countless hours researching this, talking to dermatologists and reading through thousands of ingredient lists, and what I discovered genuinely surprised me. The shampoos causing the most damage aren't always the cheap drugstore brands you'd expect. Sometimes they're the expensive ones with fancy packaging and celebrity endorsements. Sometimes they're the ones your hairstylist recommended, and that's what makes this so tricky. The first shampoo you need to avoid immediately is anything containing sodium lauryl sulfate, or SLS for short. Now, I know you've probably heard this name before, but let me explain why it's such a problem for women dealing with hair loss. SLS is what makes your shampoo foam up and create all those satisfying bubbles. It feels luxurious, right? Like your hair is getting really clean. But here's what's actually happening. SLS is an incredibly harsh detergent, the same ingredient used in industrial cleaning products and car wash soaps. When you massage it into your scalp, it strips away everything, not just dirt and oil, but the natural protective barrier your scalp produces to keep your hair follicles healthy. Without this protection, your follicles become weak and inflamed. Your scalp gets irritated, sometimes so subtly that you don't even notice the damage until months later when you start seeing more hair in your brush than usual. Women with color-treated hair or naturally dry scalps are especially vulnerable because their protective barrier is already compromised. The scary part is that SLS is in so many shampoos, even ones marketed as gentle or natural. You'd be amazed at how many bottles I've picked up that claim to be sulfate-free on the front, but list SLS or its chemical cousins in tiny print on the back. But trust me, what I'm about to tell you next is even more concerning because this ingredient is in almost every popular shampoo brand, and most women have no idea how much damage it's causing. The second shampoo disaster hiding in your shower contains something called parabens. These are preservatives that keep your shampoo from growing bacteria and mold, which sounds like a good thing, right? But parabens come with a hidden cost that affects your hormones and ultimately your hair growth cycle. Your hair grows in phases, a growth phase, a resting phase, and a shedding phase. When everything's balanced, you lose some hair naturally, but replace it with new growth at a steady rate. Parabens mess with this delicate balance because they mimic estrogen in your body. When your hormones get thrown off even slightly, your hair growth cycle gets confused. More follicles shift into the resting and shedding phases, while fewer remain in the growth phase. This means you're losing hair faster than you're growing it, and over time you notice your ponytail getting thinner, your part getting wider, or more scalp showing through than before. The most common parabens you'll see listed are methylparaben, propylparaben, and butylparaben. They're in everything from shampoos to conditioners to styling products. And because they're in so many products you use every day, the effects build up over time. Your body can't process and eliminate them fast enough. So they accumulate and that hormonal disruption gets worse. Women going through perimenopause or menopause are particularly sensitive to this because their hormones are already fluctuating naturally. Adding parabens into the mix is like throwing gasoline on a fire. Some of you watching might be thinking your expensive salon shampoo doesn't have these ingredients. But I hate to break it to you, price doesn't always equal quality when it comes to ingredient safety. However, there's one more shampoo ingredient that's even sneakier, and when I discovered this, I immediately threw out 3 bottles from my own collection. The third shampoo sabotaging your hair contains synthetic fragrances. And this one's particularly frustrating because companies aren't required to tell you exactly what's in their fragrance blend. When you see fragrance or parfum on an ingredient list, that single word could represent dozens, sometimes hundreds of different chemicals mixed together. It's a legal loophole that lets companies hide all kinds of problematic ingredients. Many of these hidden chemicals are sensitizers, meaning they cause allergic reactions and inflammation on your scalp. And remember, inflammation is one of the biggest enemies of healthy hair growth. When your scalp is constantly irritated and inflamed, your hair follicles can't function properly. They become weak, produce thinner strands, and eventually stop producing hair altogether. But here's what makes synthetic fragrances particularly dangerous for hair loss. Many of them contain phthalates, chemicals that make the scent last longer. Phthalates are what's called endocrine disruptors, just like parabens. They interfere with your hormones. Studies have shown that women exposed to high levels of phthalates often experience disrupted menstrual cycles, fertility issues, and yes, hair thinning. The thing is, you can't avoid phthalates just by reading ingredient lists because they hide under that fragrance umbrella term. You literally have no idea what you're putting on your scalp unless you choose shampoos that are completely fragrance free or use only natural essential oils for scent. I've talked to so many women who switched to fragrance-free shampoos and noticed less scalp itching, less redness, and eventually less hair shedding within just a few weeks. Your nose might need time to adjust because unscented or naturally scented shampoos don't have that powerful lingering smell you're used to, but your scalp and your hair will thank you. Now, the next shampoo I'm about to reveal is probably sitting in your shower right now, and it's specifically marketed to women, which makes it even more frustrating. The fourth and final shampoo you need to avoid is any product labeled as clarifying or deep cleansing that you're using regularly. Let me be clear, clarifying shampoos have their place. They're fantastic for removing product buildup, chlorine after swimming, or excess oil once in a while. The problem happens when women start using them too often because they like how clean their hair feels afterward. Clarifying shampoos contain stronger detergents than regular shampoos because they're designed to strip everything off your hair and scalp. When you use them once or twice a month, your scalp has time to recover and rebuild its natural oils. But when you use them weekly, or even worse, every time you wash your hair, you create a vicious cycle. Your scalp gets stripped completely dry, so it overcompensates by producing excess oil to protect itself. You notice your hair getting greasy faster, so you wash it more often with that clarifying shampoo, which strips it dry again, and round you go. Meanwhile, your hair follicles are suffering. They're not getting the nourishment they need. They're constantly stressed from this extreme cycle, and eventually they start shutting down. You'll notice your hair becoming brittle, breaking more easily, and thinning overall. Women with fine hair or aging hair are especially vulnerable because their strands are already more delicate. I've seen so many women blame their hair type or their age, when the real culprit was sitting right there in their shower, a clarifying shampoo they'd been using way too frequently. The fix is simple but requires patience. You need to retrain your scalp by switching to a gentler shampoo and spacing out your washes. Your hair might feel a bit off for a week or two as your scalp adjusts, but stick with it. Your scalp will eventually find its natural balance again, and your hair will be so much healthier for it. Now that you know what to avoid, let's talk about what you should actually be using instead. These five shampoos have ingredients that not only won't damage your hair, but can actually support healthier growth and reduce the shedding you're experiencing. I'm starting with number five and working my way up to the most effective option. So, whatever you do, don't click away before I get to number one because that's the game changer. Starting at number five, look for shampoos containing biotin. You've probably heard of biotin as a supplement for hair, skin, and nails, but it works even better when applied directly to your scalp. Biotin, also called vitamin B7, helps strengthen the protein structure in your hair. Your hair is made mostly of a protein called keratin, and biotin supports the production of this keratin, making each strand stronger and more resilient. When you massage a biotin-infused shampoo into your scalp, you're delivering this vitamin directly to your hair follicles where it can get to work immediately. Women who use biotin shampoos consistently report less breakage, which means their hair can grow longer without snapping off. You'll find biotin listed on ingredient labels, sometimes as vitamin B7 or D biotin. The concentration matters, so look for shampoos where biotin appears in the first half of the ingredient list, meaning there's actually a meaningful amount in there. Don't expect overnight miracles, though. Hair growth takes time because your follicles work on that growth cycle I mentioned earlier. You're looking at about 3 to 4 months of consistent use before you really notice a difference in thickness and strength. Pair a biotin shampoo with a gentle scalp massage while you're washing. Use your fingertips, not your nails, and work in small circles across your entire scalp for at least 2 minutes. This increases blood flow to your follicles, helping them absorb the biotin more effectively and delivering more oxygen and nutrients to support growth. But here's something important: biotin. Shampoo alone won't fix severe hair loss. It's best for women who are experiencing early signs of thinning or who want to strengthen their existing hair. If you're already seeing significant bald patches or your hair is falling out in clumps, you need to see a doctor because something more serious might be going on. Still, biotin shampoo is an excellent preventive measure and a solid foundation for healthier hair. What comes next, though, addresses a problem that almost every woman over 30 deals with but rarely connects to hair loss. Coming in at number 4, you want shampoos containing keratin protein. Remember how I mentioned that your hair is made mostly of keratin? Well, every time you brush, style, color, or even just live your life, you lose some of that keratin. Heat styling breaks it down, chemical treatments dissolve it, even sun exposure and pollution chip away at it. When your hair is low on keratin, it becomes weak, porous, and prone to breakage. It can't hold moisture properly, so it gets dry and brittle, and weak damaged hair breaks off before it can grow long, making your overall hair appear thinner. Keratin shampoos work by coating your hair strands with protein that fills in the gaps where your natural keratin has worn away. This creates a smoother, stronger surface that's better protected against future damage. Your hair looks shinier because light reflects more evenly off the smoother surface. It feels thicker because the protein adds volume to each individual strand and it breaks less because it's structurally reinforced. For women dealing with hair loss from breakage rather than from the follicle itself, keratin shampoos can make a dramatic difference. You might not be losing hair at the root. You might just be losing length from breakage, which creates the illusion of thinning. When you look at ingredient lists, you might see hydrate keratin, keratin amino acids, or simply keratin protein. Hydrate means the keratin has been broken down into smaller molecules that can better penetrate your hair shaft, rather than just sitting on the surface. Look for this version if you can find it. Use keratin shampoo 2 to 3 times a week, alternating with a moisturizing shampoo because too much protein without enough moisture can actually make your hair stiff and brittle. Balance is everything when it comes to hair care, and here's a pro tip. Keratin works best on damp hair that's slightly warm because your hair cuticles open up a bit, allowing the protein to absorb better. So apply your keratin shampoo in a warm shower. Let it sit for a full minute before rinsing, and you'll get much better results. Now, what I'm about to share at number 3 is particularly important for women over 40 because this ingredient addresses something that happens to almost everyone as they age, but that most people don't even know about. At number 3, we have shampoos with niacinamide, which is vitamin B3. This ingredient is having a huge moment in skincare right now, but it's equally powerful for your scalp and hair. Niacinamide does something really special. It improves blood circulation to your scalp. Your hair follicles need a constant supply of oxygen and nutrients from your blood to produce healthy hair. As we age, circulation naturally decreases, especially to areas like your scalp that are far from your heart. Less blood flow means less fuel for your follicles, and they start producing thinner, weaker hair or stop producing hair altogether. Niacinamide helps dilate the tiny blood vessels in your scalp, increasing that crucial blood flow. More blood means more nutrients, more oxygen, and healthier, more active follicles. But neoinamide does even more than that. It also helps strengthen your scalp's moisture barrier, preventing water loss and keeping your scalp hydrated and balanced. A healthy, hydrated scalp creates the ideal environment for hair growth. It reduces inflammation, prevents itching and flaking, and keeps your follicles functioning optimally. Women with sensitive or reactive scalps especially benefit from niacinamide because it's gentle and soothing rather than irritating. When you're shopping, look for niacinamide or nicotinamide on the ingredient list. Some brands also call it vitamin B3. The percentage matters here. Studies show that concentrations between 2 and 5% are most effective for hair and scalp health. Unfortunately, most shampoo bottles don't list percentages. So look for products where niacinamide appears in the top third of the ingredient list, suggesting a higher concentration. You can use niacinamide shampoo daily if you want because it's very gentle and non-irritating. In fact, daily use might actually be better because you're consistently supporting that blood circulation rather than giving it sporadic boosts. Pair it with that scalp massage I mentioned earlier, and you're really maximizing the circulation benefits. Women typically start noticing results after about 6 to 8 weeks, less scalp sensitivity, less itching, and eventually baby hairs starting to fill in areas that had been thinning. But be patient. Remember, hair growth doesn't happen overnight. You're creating the right conditions for growth and then waiting for your follicles to respond. The next shampoo ingredient is one that dermatologists specifically recommend for hair loss, and it's backed by serious science. Number 2 on our list is shampoos containing saw palmetto extract. This is where things get really interesting because saw palmetto works differently than everything else we've talked about. Many women don't realize that hair loss isn't just about what you put on your hair externally. It's also about what's happening inside your body hormonally. One of the most common causes of hair loss in women is a hormone called DHT, which stands for dihydrotestosterone. Your body naturally converts testosterone into DHT, and while you need some DHT for normal body functions, too much of it can attach to your hair follicles and slowly shrink them over time. And this is called miniaturization. Your follicles get smaller and smaller, producing thinner and shorter hairs until eventually they stop producing hair at all. This process is what causes pattern hair loss, the kind where your part gets wider or your hairline recedes. Saw palmetto is a natural DHT blocker. It comes from the berries of a small palm tree, and research suggests it can reduce the conversion of testosterone to DHT, meaning less of that harmful hormone is available to attack your follicles. For women dealing with hormonal hair loss, especially during menopause or menopause when testosterone levels can increase relative to estrogen, saw palmetto can be incredibly helpful. When you apply it directly to your scalp in a shampoo, you're targeting the problem right at the source. Look for saw palmetto extract, sometimes listed as Serenoa repens extract in the ingredient list. The higher up it appears, the more concentrated it is. Some shampoos combine saw palmetto with other DHT blockers like pumpkin seed oil or green tea extract for even better results. If you see these combinations, that's a good sign. Use saw palmetto shampoo consistently at least 4 to 5 times a week and leave it on your scalp for 2 to 3 minutes before rinsing. This gives the active ingredients time to penetrate your scalp and reach your follicles. Results take time with saw palmetto because you're addressing a hormonal issue. Most women start seeing less shedding after about 3 months and new growth after 4 to 6 months. Don't get discouraged if you don't see immediate changes. You're literally reversing a process that's been happening gradually for months or years. It takes patience. Now, I know what you're thinking. You want to know what number 1 is. What's the absolute best shampoo ingredient for stopping hair loss? This is the one that combines multiple benefits and has the most impressive research behind it. And honestly, when I discovered this, it changed everything. The number 1 shampoo you should be using contains caffeine. Yes, the same caffeine that's in your coffee. And before you think I'm crazy, let me explain the science because it's actually fascinating. Caffeine stimulates hair follicles at a cellular level. Research has shown that when caffeine is applied directly to the scalp, it can counteract the effects of DHT, that harmful hormone we just talked about, but it does it in a different way than saw palmetto. Instead of blocking DHT production, caffeine protects your follicles from DHT damage and actually stimulates them to grow despite the presence of DHT. Caffeine also extends what's called the anagen phase, the active growth phase of your hair cycle. The longer your hair stays in the growth phase, the longer it can grow before it enters the resting and shedding phases. This means less hair falling out and more hair growing at any given time. Studies have found that caffeine can penetrate down to your hair follicles in as little as 2 minutes, which is remarkably fast. This is why caffeine shampoos are so effective, even if you're just using them during a quick shower. You don't need to leave them on for hours to get results. Women using caffeine shampoos report significantly less hair shedding, sometimes up to 40% less within just a few months. They also notice their hair feeling thicker and looking fuller because more follicles are actively growing at once. For women with androgenetic alopecia, the medical term for pattern hair loss, caffeine shampoos have shown particular promise. When looking for a caffeine shampoo, check that caffeine appears high on the ingredient list, ideally in the top 5 ingredients. Some products specify the concentration, and studies have used anywhere from 2 to 5% caffeine with good results. If the bottle mentions the percentage, that's helpful information. Use caffeine shampoo every time you wash your hair. Massage it thoroughly into your scalp. Really work it in with your fingertips and let it sit for at least 2 minutes before rinsing. Some people even leave it on for 5 minutes to maximize absorption. The longer contact time up to a point allows more caffeine to reach your follicles. You can use caffeine shampoo long term because it's safe for daily use and doesn't have the harsh side effects of some hair loss medications. In fact, many dermatologists recommend caffeine shampoo as a first-line treatment for women who are just starting to notice thinning because it's effective, affordable, and has minimal risk. The results speak for themselves. Women typically notice less hair in their brush or shower drain within 6 to 8 weeks. New growth, those little baby hairs popping up along your hairline or part, usually appears around the 3 to 4 month mark, and over time, with consistent use, your overall hair density improves. Your ponytail gets thicker, your part looks less wide, you see less scalp showing through. Here's the thing though, no shampoo, no matter how good, can work alone if you're not supporting your hair from the inside too. Make sure you're eating enough protein because your hair is made of protein and it needs a steady supply to grow. Include foods rich in iron like spinach, lentils, and lean meats. Because iron deficiency is one of the most common causes of hair loss in women, get enough omega-3 fatty acids from fish, walnuts, or flax seeds to keep your scalp healthy and reduce inflammation. And please manage your stress. I know that's easier said than done, but chronic stress pushes more hair follicles into that shedding phase, and no shampoo can overcome that if your stress hormones are constantly elevated. Try to get enough sleep too, because your body does most of its repair work, including hair growth, while you sleep. Another important factor is how you're washing your hair. Use lukewarm water, not hot, because hot water can dry out your scalp and make inflammation worse. When you apply shampoo, focus on your scalp, not the length of your hair. Your scalp is where the action happens. Massage gently but thoroughly for at least 2 minutes to really work the beneficial ingredients into your skin and stimulate blood flow. Rinse completely because leftover shampoo residue can clog follicles and cause irritation. And don't wash your hair every single day unless you absolutely have to. Your scalp needs time to rebalance its natural oils, and overwashing, even with a gentle shampoo, can be counterproductive. When you're switching shampoos, give it time. Don't expect overnight results, and don't give up after 2 weeks if you don't see dramatic changes. Hair growth is slow. Your follicles need time to shift from a shedding phase to a growth phase. And then that new hair needs time to grow long enough that you actually notice it. We're talking months, not days. I know patience is hard, especially when you're worried about your hair, but trust the process. Take progress photos every month so you can actually see the changes over time, because when you look in the mirror every single day, The gradual improvements are easy to miss. Also, be realistic about what shampoo can and can't do. If you have a medical condition causing your hair loss, like thyroid problems, PCOS, or an autoimmune disorder, shampoo alone won't fix it. You need to address the underlying health issue with your doctor. If you're taking medications that list hair loss as a side effect, talk to your doctor about alternatives. And if your hair loss is severe, sudden, or accompanied by other symptoms like scalp pain, sores, or patches of complete baldness, please see a dermatologist. These could be signs of something that needs medical treatment, not just a shampoo change. For most women, though, the hair thinning you're experiencing is related to aging, hormones, stress, or damage from products and styling. And for those situations, switching to the right shampoo really can make a significant difference. It's not going to give you the hair you had when you were 16. That's not realistic, but it can absolutely help you stop the shedding, strengthen what you have, and encourage new, healthier growth. One last thing before we wrap up, don't forget about your conditioner. A lot of women focus all their attention on shampoo and then use whatever cheap conditioner is on sale, but conditioner matters too. Look for conditioners that are lightweight and won't weigh your hair down or clog your follicles. Avoid silicones, especially damethone, because they can build up on your scalp over time and create a barrier that prevents your beneficial shampoo ingredients from getting through. Instead, choose conditioners with natural oils like argan oil or jojoba oil that moisturize without leaving heavy residue. And only apply conditioner from your mid-lengths to your ends, not on your scalp. Your scalp produces its own oils and doesn't need the extra moisture. The ends of your hair, being the oldest part, are what need conditioning the most. I also want to address something that comes up a lot. People ask me if expensive shampoos are worth it or if drugstore brands work just as well. Here's the honest truth. Price doesn't always equal quality. Some expensive salon shampoos are genuinely better formulated with higher concentrations of active ingredients and without the harsh additives we talked about earlier, but some expensive shampoos are just marketing and fancy packaging. And some affordable drugstore brands have excellent formulations. The key is to read the ingredient list, not just the price tag or the brand name. Look for the beneficial ingredients I've mentioned today: biotin, keratin, neonicotinoid, saw palmetto, and caffeine. Avoid the harmful ones: SLS, parabens, synthetic fragrances, and overly harsh clarifying formulas. If a shampoo checks those boxes, it doesn't matter if it costs $10 or $50. What matters is what's inside the bottle. This journey to healthier hair isn't always easy, and there will be moments when you get frustrated or discouraged, especially if results feel slow. But remember, you didn't lose your hair overnight, and you won't regrow it overnight either. What matters is that you're taking action, making better choices, and giving your hair the support it needs to thrive. Every small step counts. Every good shampoo choice matters. Every gentle scalp massage helps. It all adds up over time. Remember, your hair doesn't define your worth or your beauty, but I know how much it can affect your confidence and how you feel about yourself. You deserve to feel good. You deserve to have hair that makes you feel beautiful. And now you have the knowledge to make that happen. Take what you learned today and put it into action. Check those shampoo bottles in your shower. Read the ingredient lists. Make the changes. Your future self, the one with thicker, healthier, stronger hair, will thank you for taking this step today. You've got this.